So we just finished the stream here a few moments ago on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Part 5. And we're going to be doing the next one tomorrow. And a lot of you during the stream were asking me if I heard of the news, of the Acolyte news. What Acolyte news? The fact that the Acolyte is canceled and Leslie Headland is fired. Now, if you don't remember who Leslie Headland is, here's a bit of a reminder from a video from a few weeks ago. Check it out.
This is like what we understand to be Star Wars, like the idea that like that only came from George Lucas, that only George Lucas holds the key for what we understand to be Star Wars is just untrue. And I think the prequels are an excellent example of that. I mean, the idea that like when you're hiring a director, that everyone is sitting in there waiting for George Lucas and not for the person who's going to know to hire Ralph McQuarrie, that's the problem. That's the misogyny and the problem with the auteur myth as it stands today, because they're not thinking this is the person that will hire the right people and this is the person that will be able to create the lookbooks and direct people to get them to that place. They're just thinking, do you have all the answers? And the truth is that nobody does, and anybody that says they do is lying.
So clearly she said a lot of, controversial things and in my opinion, disrespectful and incorrect things about George Lucas and Star Wars and what came before. And before we begin this, I just want to say, I have always been extremely excited for Acolyte. The premise of a Jedi and Sith sort of show, a few hundred years before the Phantom Menace, and how the Sith were able to stick around this whole time under the noses of the Jedi and, even this High Republic era, as Disney wants to call it. It is an interesting story, a plot line, and I definitely was excited to see it. You can go back to all my videos covering this, even when it was just a rumor that we're going to get some sort of a dark side Sith show. Anyways, there's a bunch of different articles that are talking about this right now, so let's go ahead and cover a few of them, and I'm going to give you guys my take. Rumors are flying that Star Wars The Acolyte has been canceled at Disney following the firing of the showrunner Leslie Headland. Cosmic Book News made the initial report based on the claims of noted leaker Doomcock, our boy Doomcock, once again with the leaks, with producer Cameron Pasha cited as a source. The YouTuber explained that Pasha found out from a source at Lucasfilm only referred to as Sparrow, that made a claim about Headland's firing, and as a result, the upcoming series was given a soft cancellation. The most ambitious and mysterious Disney Plus series set in the world of Star Wars, not much has been known about the Acolyte since it was first announced. Though the cast did include the likes of Carrie-Anne Moss, taking place in the era of the High Republic, a century before The Phantom Menace, the studio shared no details on the production, and with a potential cancellation, it's now clear why. Doomcock's revelation about the firing and soft cancellation matches with how Disney and Lucasfilm have handled the rumors swirling about Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy, which really is up in the air. And we've even had Kathy say that, he's just really busy right now with Knives Out and Netflix and blah, blah, blah. And Rian got like a $200 million deal over there. So good for him. Please give him more money and keep him away from Star Wars. And I'm being unfair to Rian. I do think that he is actually really talented when it comes to cinematography and making movies that look good. As for Star Wars movies, I wanted to stay as far away from as humanly possible. So yeah, Lucasfilm it seems like they just kind of say, oh yeah, it's still happening, but they just never really give you updates on it. So anyways, it seems like what the article or leak is basically alluding to with Acolyte. With no official news of a cancellation, which would be admitting fault on some level, the company is instead just letting it remain in a state of limbo. Though effectively canceled, as long as there's no official acknowledgement, Lucasfilm can continually hint that it's in production and being worked on for as long as they need before the general public forgets about it, which we never will. Remember Patty Jenkins' movie? Star Wars The Acolyte is likely to suffer the same fate, as it seems leakers can't even agree on the basic premise of the plot, which isn't a reflection on the quality of the information and instead points to turmoil behind the scenes. The earliest information pointed towards the series being darker than what fans are used to, with the Jedi being painted as the bad guys. Whether that's because the story is from a Sith point of view or playing around with shades of gray is unknown, and we may never get a satisfying answer. At one point, the Acolyte was rumored to follow a Jedi Master, likely Carrie-Anne Moss, reunited with her Padawan, Stenberg, as they blah, blah, blah. Look, what I think of this is I really 99% believe that the Acolyte is not canceled, and it's still going to be happening. I have no reason to believe that it has been canceled or Leslie Headland has been fired. It seems like Leslie Headland is the exact type of person and fills the criteria that Lucasfilm and Disney are looking for to create the next Star Wars going forwards. Basically, someone who wants to invent something new thinks they can do it better than George Lucas and throws words out like misogyny and patriarchy and all of this junk when it applies to Star Wars. And no, not that those topics are junk, but that when they apply to Star Wars, that doesn't exist. Today's rumors appear valid based on the lack of information about the Acolyte, especially compared to how all other in development movies and shows have been slowly leaking information to the fans. But that's because it comes out in 2024. They've already finished filming the Acolyte. They've paid for all of it pretty much. Now it's just post-production. So, I mean, they've paid for probably more than half of it now. The world of Star Wars is vast and perfect for a series that takes place in the distant past, but fans will have to get their fix from Logan's James Mangold helming a movie set even further back at the dawn of the Jedi Order. Regardless of what happened behind the scenes of another doomed Star Wars series, don't be surprised if no information about the Acolyte ever comes out as Disney stops mentioning it during press conferences. While a cancellation is almost never good news, given how badly bruised the franchise is after Rise of Skywalker, failing to put out a substandard show beats the alternative of making fans suffer. And hey, you know, maybe Leslie Headland says things that I don't agree with when it comes to George Lucas and Star Wars, but the show still could have been a good show. Could have been a cool show for the lore of Star Wars and the world building of Star Wars, taking place 100 or 200 years before The Phantom Menace, is an extremely interesting plot and premise. But at the end of the day, like, I don't condone the things that she says or really her whole narrative of Star Wars for that matter, or her actors that have talked about Star Wars for the Acolyte show. But beyond that, look, the show could be cool, and I've always been rooting for it and touting for it, regardless, you know, what Leslie has been saying. Let's look at another article here. So this one says the same thing. Leslie Headland out at Lucasfilm. The Acolyte gets a soft cancellation. Sparrow confirmed, and this is the name of the leaker, I guess, that this is not a rumor. This is their confirmation that Leslie Headland is no longer working with Lucasfilm. They're no longer part of the company's inner infrastructure. They've been removed, says Pasha. So the other thing they've confirmed is the part of the process of Leslie Headland no longer being an employee of Lucasfilm is that her Acolyte show, The Mysterious Acolyte, for which we never have a clear answer as to what they're doing, the Acolyte show has been essentially put into, as Sparrow puts it, soft cancellation. Lucasfilm will treat this exactly like the Rian Johnson never-ending trilogy that will happen one day, inshallah, God willing, right? Which they ran with that for years, and that's their play, which is true. Their play is that they're just going to not talk about it anymore. They're going to memory hold it, says Pasha. It will always be, it's coming out soon, God willing. We just got to make a few more things happen until eventually no one talks about it anymore, which is exactly what happened to Rian Johnson, who is much bigger than Miss Headland, and that's what they did with him. Yeah, it is what they did with him, but also at the same time, Leslie Headland really drives home the narrative that I think Kathleen Kennedy is trying to push with Star Wars going forwards, and you all know what I'm talking about with that.
What?
So I think, you know, this show, it could be good. Regardless, I'll check it out and let you guys know what I think about it and be extremely raw and candid as always. And that's really all we can do at this point, you know. Have George Lucas's story in mind always as number one. And going forwards, we'll see how Lucasfilm and Disney want to adjust and adapt their stories to continue his. And if they don't, well,
Yes, my lord.
and as for the topic of Doomcock, I know nothing about the guy. He's doing everything else that all of us other YouTubers are doing, and he's just making content for his subscribers that he enjoys. And I make content for my subscribers that I enjoy. I make content I like to make, and that goes for everybody else. So I can't talk on the legitimacy or illegitimacy of the things he says. Obviously, he has some sources that I don't have. I don't have a Sparrow, you know. So hey, it's fun to talk about these things, and when you guys are obviously asking me so many questions regarding these leaks, I love to give my take on it too. So as a, you know, as another fan in the fandom, just like anyone else, I like to give my take on it. So that's what I think about that. But also, you know, keep in mind, like, and I'm not saying this about Doomcock, I'm not saying this about anybody, but in general, like, you even get articles and stuff like that that like to twist words and clickbait stuff. So just always be wary that just because someone says something, like if I were to say this and this happened, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Honestly, I don't have any sort of legitimacy. Just because I have a big subscriber base doesn't mean anything. I could, and you know what, I might even do this just for fun. I might just make a super clicky headline that you'll all believe. Everyone will click on it. and I'll stand there and I'll just tell you guys like what. Just watch. I have an idea of what I think I'm gonna do. And if you're watching this video, then you have a heads up on it. But the ones who don't make it to this video or even to the end of this video will have no idea what I'm talking about. And we're gonna watch them all fall for it. And I'm gonna show you how easy it is. And yeah, anyways, love you guys. Hope you have a great day. Let me know what you think about this stuff. As always, check me out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and every other podcast platform because I'm on there every single day. Oh yeah, and I want to get Doomcock onto Nerd Theory with me and Josh. I think that would be a fun time. I think it would be a good time. So all of his fans and fans of mine, go and maybe message him, let him know that, hey, we want to get you on Nerd Theory. We want to have some fun. We want to talk and speculate, theorize, and all that stuff. Anyways, we'll catch you guys later. Have a great day. May the force be with you.